Oh, hey, KC.
Yeah,
Currently, right now, who's in control of the house?
I'm in control of the house. This is my house, bitch.
Fuck. No, I meant like the United States House of Representatives.
Oh, sorry. Republicans. I
Re-
mean, Kens. Republicans.
Republicans?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what about the Senate?
Republicans.
Okay. Well, then I'm kind of curious. How the fuck exactly does Donald Trump get off blaming Democrats for not being able to get a goddamn budget published?
Because he's remedial as fuck.
Oh, okay.
Also, it's a soundbite on Twitter, and that's just what they're gonna do.
Well, what do you mean? It's just a soundbite on Twitter?
Like it's something quick and easy he can say on Twitter. He just blames Democrats,
Oh.
and then all his little dumbass followers just scurry on right behind him and blame the Democrats. They just regurgitate the things that he says.
Oh, okay.
And they can't understand complex, ideas and conversations just like he can't. So a quick, easy 140 character or less kind of deal they can repeat works
Oh,
out.
and the ones that still support him as president are just like, fuck the Democrats. Why didn't Obama investigate the 9/11 shit?
Yeah, pretty much. Why are we talking about this? This is the Bible podcast.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is the Bible podcast.
Yeah, I don't do all the political stuff with you. You do. Well, I mean, we just talk about it here, and then you know.
Yeah, I know. I just figured a little bit of a different thing. You ready to jump into the Bible though?
Yeah.
Something a bit more rational than Donald Trump?
No. That's a tough call.
If you take it as a literary thing, then yes. Well, hello, heathens. How's everybody doing today?
Hi, y'all.
Yeah, we are here to talk about some more Bible stuff because we all know that's not tired and played out.
Of course, but we do it different.
Yeah, we definitely fucking do it different. It could be labeled as remedial.
No, the book is what's remedial. We're just trying to.
Well, okay, I guess I was more or less talking about myself. In these instances, I'm more or less remedial. You're not.
Oh. You've got some good insight now and then. The rest of the times, mostly, it's.
it's not there.
It's okay.
Yeah. All right. So what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about Jacob,
All right.
and we are talking about his wives. If you remember, Jacob is Rebecca's son,
Right.
and Rebecca and Isaac, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob, the last time she sent Jacob to Haran to find a bride from her brother Laban.
All right. Is this more Jerry Springer shit?
Yep.
All right.
We've got tons more cousin fucking. This is Genesis, so cousin fucking is like the thing.
Oh, awesome. I love cousin fucking.
Yeah.
What? No, I was a little too enthusiastic about that.
You were. It was weird, and especially because you're from Alabama, so people might read more into that.
All right, woman that lives in Alabama.
But I'm not from Alabama.
That doesn't matter. You're in Alabama.
It does. It matters. It makes a difference.
When you come to the South, you fuck your cousin. That's just how it rolls down here.
All right. Anyway, we're going to start off today with Genesis chapter 29.
Okay.
All right. And Jacob continues on his journey. So the last time he was on his journey, but he hadn't made it to Haran yet. So he continues on his journey to the land of the eastern peoples.
The land of the eastern peoples.
So like Asians, I guess.
That's. I mean, I feel like I'm listening to my great grandfather talking about the African American peoples here in the South, instead of what he really called them, which was a word that Google, or not Google, but YouTube would definitely cancel my channel for.
Really? They'll cancel your channel for saying.
Well,
words?
I mean that one word caused the whole adpocalypse thing and caused everybody to lose their revenue. I don't want to pile on to that.
Okay.
That's like a dog pile that you don't want to be on because everybody's shitting on the person at the bottom.
Does anybody want to be on a dog pile ever?
Not when they're shitting.
Ever?
All right. So, what's next in this hillbilly fucking Jerry Springer episode?
Okay, so he's on his way to the land of the Eastern peoples. He saw a well in a field. I don't know what. Wells are kind of a big deal, like in Genesis. Wells are totally the thing. Maybe it's because they didn't really have access to clean water if it wasn't for wells, so wells equal life. Kind of like in Survivor, fire equals your life.
Right.
So wells, maybe that was the kind of thing. But he sees a well in a field with 3 flocks of sheep lying near it because that's where the flocks were watered from, right?
Right.
So he sees some shepherds and asks them where they're from. And they say, we're from Haran. And he's like, well, fuck yeah. Do you know Laban, Nahor's grandson? And they say, yes, we know him. And so he finally finds Laban and his family at this. Well, they're not at the well, but he finds people who know them at the well.
Okay, so they're at the well, and he just finds people. You think he just went around the well like, hey, you know Laban?
Well,
Hey, you know Laban?
They were shepherds. The flocks were lying around the well because that's where they get water, and they were the flock shepherds.
Well, yeah, but he had to go and ask.
Yeah, so he asked them.
You know Laban? Hey, you know Laban? What's up? I'm looking for Laban. Oh, you know Laban? Could you take me to his ass? He owes me $5.
Well, so they didn't need to take him because listen to this. Up walks Rachel, who is Laban's daughter. And the shepherds, they tell him, oh, look, there's Rachel. That's his daughter. And so Jacob meets Rachel. And so the first thing he does is, because Rachel's a shepherdess, which I think is kind of a weird thing for a woman.
A shepherdess?
Shepherdess.
That I don't know. It sounds like it's a rap lyric that was invented in order to make something rhyme.
I don't know. She's a lady shepherd. And so he runs up to Rachel and kisses her and begins to weep aloud. He told Rachel he was a relative of her father and a son of Rebekah, so she ran and told her father. So then her father comes down to meet Jacob. They embrace. Laban kisses Jacob. They embrace, and then they go about their evening.
Okay.
And Jacob ended up staying for a whole month there, just kind of hanging out.
He's that guy that like comes. He's like, hey man, I'm just passing through. Can I crash on your couch?
For a day or two?
Yeah. 2 fucking years later, he's still there. You're paying all the bills, and he ain't doing shit.
Well, just wait. You ready for this?
Oh, okay.
So Laban says, just because you're a relative of mine, should you work for me for nothing? So what I skipped here when I didn't want to read the whole thing is that Jacob ends up working for Laban.
Oh.
And helping him out. So, but he was working for nothing. So Laban says, just because you're a relative, should you work for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be. Well, so we know Laban has a daughter, Rachel. She's the younger of his 2 daughters. He also has an older daughter, Leah. And in this passage, it says Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel was lovely in form and beautiful. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, I will work for you 7 years in return for your daughter, Rachel.
Okay, so first off, treating women as property?
Yes.
Anyone?
Just Bible things.
Well, yeah, just the hashtag just Bible things. So they treat the women as property to be bargained for work to be done. Apparently 7 years is the cost of Rachel. I mean, arguably he could have just, plowed her and then paid like the 40 shekels to keep her. I mean, I don't know why he's choosing to do it this way, but I mean, I guess he wanted to stay there for 7 years or something. I mean, it's like How I Met Your Mother, if it was played out like in biblical times. It's like, yeah, I worked for 7 years and then I just sort of took her home. Like, also, but I wanted to point out that this is one of the prime examples that people use as slavery in the Bible.
Okay.
Because they say that the slavery that is pictured or talked about in the Bible is actually indentured servitude. Like, that's one of the big apologetics centering around this.
Well, that's bullshit.
Well, I mean, it is, because in Leviticus here in just a little bit, they're going to lay down laws where you can beat the fuck out of them. And, and it just lays down laws for slaves. But not only that, but like Jesus talks about slaves obeying their masters and stuff. I sincerely doubt he's talking about BDSM, considering how he feels about sex. I mean, he walked around with 12 guys and a prostitute and died a virgin. I mean, come on.
Did he die a virgin?
Well, I mean, as far as the myth goes, in the Bible, he died a virgin. I mean, he never... We don't know what happened in his childhood, but you know what? That's just hashtag Raglan hero things.
So Laban thinks about Jacob's offer, and he's like, well, so he says, it's better I give her to you than some other man. Stay here with me. So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her.
Oh, what bullshit.
Oh, he loved her.
There's no way.
He worked for 7 years to get her.
There's no way he was plowing the field and then looked up and it was 7 years later. He knew it was that. That's just some poetic shit to make it sound all nice and fluffy. But really what you're doing is you're working 7 years so that you could take home a woman, whether or not it was against her will or if she wanted to do it. You were still trading work with a woman.
Yeah.
You were using her as property to be bargained with.
Well, so get this. You ready for the next part?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe it runs in the family, but Laban decided to deceive Jacob.
Oh! Okay, so Jacob is a deceiver, and he gets deceived. This is ironic. Okay.
Yes, so here's what happens. After the 7 years of work, Jacob says to Laban, give me my wife. My time is completed, and I want to lie with her. So here's my first thing. Who the fuck says that to the man of the daughter they are trying to wed? Hey, give me your daughter because I'm ready to fuck her. Like, that just seems so fucked up. Cousin or not. Like,
Laban, it's been long enough, okay? I need to plow her now. I mean, I've got seed that's built up over 7 years, and I mean, it is just going to be like a fucking geyser.
Yeah, I've been plowing your field. Now let me plow your daughter. I mean, that's basically what he's saying.
Yeah. I do love the imagery here of all of this because of the fact of how Jacob got his blessing.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, Isaac blessed Jacob, but he blessed Jacob after Jacob pretended to be Esau.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's kind of... The Bible does this a lot, actually. It's a very common literary device, being parallelism. And you can see this in literary things across all genres. It's where you take one instance and then you parallel it in a similar situation, but it's often either backwards or just done in a slightly different way, but you still see the same, like, kind of... you still see the same kind of structure to it, even though the characters are switched.
Yeah, we're going to actually see more of that later on with barren wives. Laban brought together all of the people of the place and gave a feast. When evening came, he took his daughter Leah and gave her to Jacob. And Jacob lay with her, and Laban gave his servant girl Zilpah to his daughter as her maidservant.
How do you accidentally sleep with the wrong girl? Like, how do you accept that? Like, is there no quality control on Jacob's part?
Well, so here's my note. I put a little arrow and I said, did he fucking go blind? Like, I realize that there's no electricity and there's probably not chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, but Jesus fuck Christ. Like, come on. He gives you the wrong daughter, which is interesting because in the Jacob deception, he was the wrong son. The blessing was given to the wrong son,
Mm-hmm.
and Jacob was given the wrong daughter. He worked 7 years for Rachel, and he got Leah. Didn't even fucking know it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just I'm really finding the literary devices that are being used in the Bible to be very interesting. It's like it's like being a detective and finding these little bit of pieces, you know, and it's just so interesting because I mean, there's such an amazing parallel to how Jacob did with Isaac and getting the blessing to now with this. I mean, it's so fucking interesting to me.
Well, and when Jacob finds out in the morning, he says to Laban, "What is this you have done to me? I served you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me?" And
Hold on. I still gotta laugh at that because it's like the person who got like the burger, but they ordered a salad. And they come to him with an empty plate, and it's like, why the fuck did you give me this burger? I ordered a goddamn salad. I want my fucking salad right now. It's like, motherfucker, you didn't notice when you were eating a goddamn hamburger?
well, I mean, to be fair, like, they're two women. If they were sisters, maybe they have similar body types. If it was dark, I'm just saying, like, it's not the same thing as a cheeseburger and a salad. There are clear differences between a cheeseburger and a salad. I mean, he would obviously know if there were serious differences between Leah and Rachel.
Okay, look,
but
even if they were like identical fucking twins, which I doubt they were.
right. Well, we know that Leah had what'd they say? Crazy eyes, lazy eyes.
Yeah, something. she had a lazy ass. She had Forrest Whitaker.
Weak eyes. Weak
Yeah.
Weak eyes.
Yeah, I guess that means she slept a lot.
No. So apparently weak eyes means delicate. Weak eyes means delicate.
Oh.
She had delicate eyes. She had soft eyes.
Well, okay, look, even if
He wanted hhim a dominatrix.
even if they were exact twins that
Right.
looked exactly the same, he spent 7 years with them.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but you would be able to tell the difference. Like, I get somebody that hasn't been with like a family or something like that and not being able to tell like identical twins apart. Like, that's reasonable. But if you spend 7 years and you're eyeing the one that you're gonna fuck later, you're gonna know when she don't fuck right.
How is he gonna know how she fucks if he hadn't fucked her yet?
Well, okay, good point. What I mean by that is that he would know if that was the one that he's been vying for, even if they were identical.
I agree. Maybe he was just so excited that his brain shut off and all his blood flowed to his dick. That's probably what happened. I mean, men are pretty fucking stupid when they get a hard on. Just it's true.
I can't disagree with that.
Okay, so Laban replied, "It is not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one. Finish this daughter's bridal week. Then we will give you the younger one also, in return for another 7 years of work."
Holy fuck!
Yes.
Like, this couldn't have been hashed out in the brokerage of these two women?
Well, he didn't want both women. He only wanted the one woman, but he'd already fucked Leah, so he was stuck with her.
Well, no. What I mean is like when he was like, "Yo, look, if you give me Rachel over there, I'll work 7 years," and then the guy was like, "All right, fam, let's do it."
Mm-hmm.
You know, couldn't he have been like, "All right, fam, let's do it," but you got to marry the younger one first because that's how shit works.
The older one.
Oh, the older one.
Yeah, he has to marry. You marry off your eldest daughter first. That's the idea, is that the eldest daughter gets married off first, then the next, then the next, then the next. But I guess they probably assumed that within the 7 years, Leah would be married off to someone else. That was probably the assumption.
Well, yeah, I guess just from my own work in requirements and like negotiating stuff, I would say that needed to be brought up before he did any kind of blood dick oath or something.
I don't think he did a blood dick oath.
He did a blood dick oath with God. Why not for this? It's a blood dick oath.
Okay.
It is. You cut off the foreskin of your pecker, and it is a blood oath with God.
But see, he didn't have a choice in the blood dick oath.
Okay, good point.
I mean, it wasn't like Abraham where he was like, all right, let's do this. And he cut his own dick off. And then he cut everyone in the whole entire village's dick off.
Yeah, one by one
Yeah.
with a dull spoon. Anyways, okay, so let's continue.
Okay, so Jacob did so. He finished out the bridal week with Leah, so he fucked her for another week. I guess that's a bridal week. I've never really heard of a bridal week. I'm assuming that's like honeymoon now. And then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel right away to be his wife. Laban gave his servant girl Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her maidservant, and Jacob lay with Rachel also. He loved Rachel more than Leah, and he worked for Laban for another 7 years.
Wait, so he worked 21 years? He worked another 7 years?
No, 14. He worked 7 years, got Leah,
Right.
then got Rachel and worked another 7 years. Like he gave both daughters to him within a week.
Oh, okay.
He's like, okay, well, because I deceived you, I'll go ahead and give you Rachel, but you're gonna stay and work another 7 years.
Okay. See, I was thinking that he had to work 7 years and then he got Rachel. And
No. So
anyways,
14 years. So here's the deal. He worked to have this woman for 14 years. Ain't nobody ever been that interested in me. I don't understand. I mean,
you see, he has a shady look. He's like, that Rachel looks like she fucks real good. She worked 14 years.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that's some crazy. And you know that based on this story and how he feels about Rachel, even if Laban had not given Rachel to him until the end of his next 7-year stint,
Mm-hmm.
he would have worked another 7 years and not fucked her for 14 years.
Yeah, he would have.
He
But can you imagine like what the fucking like home life would be like? It's like, fuck, I slept with Leah last night. I meant to sleep with Rachel. God damn it, Leah.
Well, so
like I would imagine that he would be confused as to which wife to fuck on what night. It's like, it's Rachel's night. Which one's Rachel? I need you to tell me. Oh yes, I know, because I love you so much.
well, so it's interesting because this actually does create a serious problem, having him married to both sisters.
Okay.
Okay, so it's important to remember, and we're gonna get into some stuff, but it's important to remember that he loved Rachel and did not love Leah. Okay, and that comes into play. So the Lord saw. Now here's God. Here's God. The Lord saw that Leah was not loved. He opened her womb and made Rachel barren.
Oh, that's a dick move by God.
Right? Yeah. It's like, the fuck did Rachel do wrong? Like, it's not Rachel's fault that Jacob loves Rachel.
Also, what was it? Was it backwards before? Like Leah was barren and she was, and then but Rachel had an open womb. Like, why did God have to open her womb? Are all women's wombs closed and God has to open them up individually?
Yeah, apparently that's how it's been the whole Bible, is open and closing of the wombs. I mean, all the way back to Abraham and Sarah, when we talk about the Pharaoh, when the Pharaoh has Sarah, and how God closed all the women in the house's wombs.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah, I love how it's always men that open and close the wombs, or it's
God.
It's God, but it's like, for men or whatnot. Like, it's never like, oh, here you go, I'm opening the womb for you. Like, I don't consider this particular instance to be him opening the womb for her.
He is doing it for her. He's doing it for her because she wasn't loved. Because Jacob didn't love her, and God saw that she was sad, and so he opened her womb and gave her sons and made Rachel barren so that Rachel couldn't have Jacob's sons.
Why is God a dick like that?
First of all, God doesn't exist, but in the story,
okay, when I say why is God a dick, I mean in the story. Like, I don't mean in reality, because he's not here.
In the story, I don't really understand. Like I said, it's not really Rachel's fault that Jacob loves her and doesn't love Leah. In fact, it's not Jacob's fault that he was deceived, and now he's stuck with Leah as a wife. He didn't want Leah. He wanted Rachel from the beginning. So none of this is Jacob's fault. None of this is Leah's fault. None of the, well, I think it does have some to do with Leah, because Leah should never have slept with him, because she knew that the deal that Jacob and her father made was for Rachel.
Right. Well, I mean, I wonder if this is quote unquote God's punishment for Jacob for being a deceitful little shit.
I don't know. So Leah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Reuben, which means see a son. For she said, it is because the Lord has seen my misery. Surely my husband will love me now. She thought because she bared him a son that he would love her. He didn't. But
just like side note, he didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he didn't. But anyway, they still fucked each other. Like, he still fucked her, and she conceived again.
Well, yeah, I mean, she had to churn out her little baby shoot.
Yeah,
you know, 12 motherfuckers.
Well, she didn't have 12 sons.
Oh.
She had 6.
Oh yeah.
She didn't
That's
have
right.
12. So she had another one. Because the Lord heard that I am not loved, and he gave me this one too. So she named him Simeon, which means one who hears. Again she conceived. When she gave birth to a son, she said, now at last my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons. So she named him Levi, which sounds like the Hebrew word for attached, but it doesn't actually mean attached.
Okay.
In the current world, it means jeans.
Like blue jeans, or yeah. Okay.
Levi.
Oh goddamn! I'm so remedial. Okay. Go ahead.
Then she conceived again, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, this time I will praise the Lord. So she named him Judah, and she stopped having children. And Judah means praise.
Ah, yes. And then I know later on Judah becomes pretty important.
Yeah. Okay, so then her not Rebecca, I'm sorry, Rachel's maidservant, Bilhah, comes into play now. And we're starting now, Genesis chapter 30. This is the beginning of that. Okay? So Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, and she became very jealous of her sister. So she said to Jacob, give me children or I'll die. Jacob became angry with her and said, am I in the place of God who has kept you from having children? Then she said, here is Bilhah, my maidservant. Sleep with her so that she can bear children for me, and that through her I too can build a family, which is exactly what happened with Sarah.
Imagery all around, huh?
Mm-hmm. Sarah and Hagar. This is exactly what happened.
Yep. Seems like they took that story and just copied it.
Yeah.
Because it's easy.
So she gave him her servant Bilhah as a wife. Jacob slept with her, and she became pregnant and bore him a son. Then Rachel said, God has vindicated me. He has listened to my plea and given me a son. Because of this, she named him Dan, which apparently means he is vindicated.
Dan?
Dan.
Dan means, okay, vindicated. Got it.
He is vindicated. Yeah. Rachel's servant Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, I have had a great struggle with my sister, and I have won. So she named him Naphtali, which means my struggle. And it's interesting because I'm not sure exactly how she thinks she's won. She still hasn't bore Jacob any sons, and she built her family on her maidservant's kids. She has 2, and Leah has 4. So I'm not really sure what makes her think she won. Is this like a Donald Trump win?
I don't know.
Winning.
I wonder if God is going to open up Rachel's womb here in a minute.
Well, so we just got to get through some more of the story.
You're getting ahead of us, John.
Getting ahead here. So when Leah saw that she had stopped having children, and that Rachel's maidservant was having children, she took her maidservant Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, what good fortune! So she named him Gad, which means good fortune, apparently. Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Then Leah said, how happy I am! The women will call me happy. So she named him Asher, which means happy. During the wheat harvest, Reuben went out to the fields and found some mandrake plants, which he brought to his mother Leah. Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." Leah says, this is when we get into the cat fight. You ready? Leah says, "Wasn't it enough that you took away my husband? Will you take my son's mandrakes too?"
God damn. That's like, you've been holding on to this for a while, have you?
Right.
Now you're flipping the fuck out over goddamn mandrakes? All right, let's do this.
So Rachel says, "Very well, he can sleep with you tonight in return for your son's mandrakes." So, like, now who's pimping who? Just asking for a friend. So when Jacob came in from the fields that evening, Leah went out to meet him. "You must sleep with me," she said. "I have hired you with my son's mandrake." So now Jacob's a prostitute. So he slept with her that night.
Oh, poor him having to sleep with Leah.
And here's the deal. Like, Leah goes out to meet Jacob, and she's like, "You have to sleep with me. I bought you." You know what this makes me think of? Bitch, he's just not that into you. Like, this woman is so pathetic.
Yeah, I really don't think this really bodes well for, like, any kind of argument against it being a misogynistic book, because I mean, you've got her and you're painting her as being so pathetic that she has to buy time with her husband.
Yes.
So
Because her husband loves her sister.
Yeah, I would
also married to her, and he's had 4 kids via maidservants, and like, this is really, like, this is some real Mormon shit going on right here.
Yeah. Well, I would expect, like, apologists to use this to say that the Bible was very progressive with women, because it's like, look, okay, Leah, or maybe Rachel was pimping out Jacob to his own wife, so she's got some power. And then, of course, Leah just come up and take that dick. like, okay, you're painting a pitiful woman that has to buy time, for of her husband's dick in order to argue against the misogyny in the Bible. Like, I don't know. I just would expect apologists to do that.
Well, so God listened to Leah, and she became pregnant with a 5th son.
Good goddamn! Like you think Rachel's out there like, holy fuck, God, are you just not paying attention to me?
Then Leah said, "God has rewarded me for giving my maidservant to my husband," so she named him Ishar, which means reward. Leah conceived what?
Oh, I was just gonna say, God rewarded Leah for giving the servant to Jacob.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, this is like, oh fuck. Well, now Christians can't say that God looked down on the multiple wives and
polygamy, right?
And, yeah. Like, you just can't say that because God blessed that bitch.
Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a 6th son. Then Leah said, "God has presented me with a precious gift. This time my husband will treat me with honor because I have borne him 6 sons." So she named him Zebulun, which means honor. Sometime later, she gave birth to a daughter named Dinah.
Dinah. Who's cooking in the kitchen with Dinah? Jacob.
Not Jacob. Jacob, because Jacob don't like Leah.
Oh, fuck. That's right.
So then we finish. Well, we're not finishing out Genesis chapter 30, but this particular section starts out like this. Then God remembered Rachel.
Just all of a sudden, oh fuck, I forgot Rachel. God damn it. Let's open up her womb, shall we?
I forgot about Rachel. He listened to her and opened her womb. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son and said, "God has taken away my disgrace." She named him Joseph and said, may the Lord add to me another son." God
damn it. This perfectly follows what happened between Abraham and Sarah. Again, except in this case, Sarah or Leah, Rachel, what the fuck ever, they didn't get all pissy because Jacob was fucking the servant girls. Like, no. They were happy.
They were happy because Rachel was happy because she was like, okay, I'm starting a family of my own with Jacob and now we have kids because she didn't have kids and Leah had kids, so she was jealous of it. Well, so then the maidservant was having kids. Well, so then Leah stopped having kids, and she's like, well, God damn it, I can't let them catch up, so I got to give him my maidservant. So it's absurd. This whole thing is completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Look, if I'm not having kids, and I'm trying to have kids, and I can't, I am not about to tell my guy, hey, why don't you sleep with the cleaning lady? And then I'll just take her kid and we'll have a family.
That's called kidnapping, honey.
It doesn't really work like that. Okay, so that's all for that particular section about that thing. But we have another deceit by Laban, and then a deceit from Jacob to Laban. So we've got some more deceit going on here. You ready?
Oh, awesome. Yes.
After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, send me on my way so I can go back to my own homeland. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I have done for you. But Laban said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you. He added, name your wages and I will pay them.
Another daughter.
No. So Jacob said to him, you know how I have worked for you, and how your livestock has fared under my care. The little you had before I came has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I have been. But now, when may I do something for my own household? So Laban says, okay, what shall I give you? And Jacob says, don't give me anything, but if you will do me this one thing, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Let me go through all your flocks today and remove from them every speckled or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages, and my honesty will testify for me in the future, whenever you check on the wages you have paid me. Any goat in my possession that is not speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is not dark-colored, will be considered stolen. Agreed, said Laban. Let it be as you have said it. Okay. That same day, Laban removed all the male goats that were streaked or spotted, and all the speckled or spotted female goats that had any white on them, and all the dark-colored lambs, and he placed them all in the care of his sons. Then he put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob, while Jacob continued to tend to the rest of Laban's flocks. Jacob didn't get to go through any of the sheep or goats, any of the livestock, to pick out any of the speckled or dark-colored ones, or spotted or striped or whatever, because Laban gave them away to his sons. So,
dick move.
Yeah, so now he doesn't have any to give him. So here's what Jacob does. You ready for this?
Okay.
Jacob took fresh-cut branches from poplar, almond, and plane trees and made white stripes on them by peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branches. You know what's about to happen?
I have an inkling.
Then he placed the peeled branches in all the watering troughs so that they would be directly in front of the flocks when they came to drink. When the flocks were in heat and came to drink, they mated in front of the branches, and they bore young that were streaked or speckled or spotted.
Ooh, goddamn! All right, so this is that I've always classified this as a hint of evolution and how the Bible thinks that evolution actually works, or a change in species.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that, you know, he has them mate and have children that are striped and speckled and spotted. Now, I guess you could argue that it's not about evolution, because I guess, like, it would make sense if some of them came out to be speckled or spotted, because of, you know, genes, like recessive genes, like maybe some of them had recessive genes that made them speckled, spotted, whatever. Right? It would make sense if some of them were like that.
Yes.
But the fact that every one of them that made it in front of it turned out to be speckled or spotted, that's a key indication that it was not genes or anything like that. Like, genes are not going to give you 100% accuracy on getting recessive fucking genes. So still, this is kind of an indication as to how the Bible thinks that that evolution works. You stripe and speckle a tree, boom, you get striped and speckled young.
Yeah, when you fuck in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So listen to what else Jacob did. Not only that, he set apart the young of the flock by themselves, but made the rest face the streak and dark-colored animals that belonged to Laban. Thus he made separate flocks for himself and did not put them with Laban's animals. Whenever the stronger females were in heat, Jacob would place the branches in the troughs in front of the animals so they would mate near the branches. But if the animals were weak, he would not place them there. So the weak animals went to Laban, and the strong ones to Jacob. In this way the man grew exceedingly prosperous and came to own large flocks and maidservants and menservants and camels and donkeys. So basically
Jacob
he
did?
bred, yes. So basically Jacob purposefully bred strong animals for his flock and weak animals for Laban's to punish Laban for the deceit. Smart cookie, that Jacob.
Yeah, well, I mean, his name means deceitful.
Yes. And that's all. That's all for today. Next time we're going to start on Genesis chapter 31, where Jacob leaves Laban. Big long story about that. And there's going to be another covenant. Jacob returns to Canaan. They go and they see Esau again. All right, so Esau's going to be back. And that's pretty much, and then the Jacob and Esau get to a peaceful resolution, and Jacob settles, and that's pretty much.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate everybody joining us today for this podcast. I don't know, what should we ask our audience about?
Have you ever had a striped or spotted or speckled child from fucking on a comforter that has a pattern on it?
I think that's an easy one to answer. I don't think it's like, yeah, my kitty came out all flanneled. I fucked on my shirt. I'm sorry.
I didn't get a chance to take it off. I was too excited. I don't know. This is your part.
I want to know how the conversation went between Leah and Jacob when she was like, I bought your ass. Come in here and fuck me.
Right.
Like, what do you think that conversation was like? Oh, okay. It's like, I don't know. I'm really tired and I don't want your pussy. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you think do you think Jacob would have just went along with it? Or do you think that, like, he might have put up a little bit of a fight? Like, you can't just buy me like I'm some kind of property, you piece of property.
I mean, like, I don't know. He still slept with her, so I don't know if they had, like, alternating days, but I do know. What we do know is that Jacob loved Rachel. So it's my assumption that most of the time he spent with her. And he probably only slept with Leah when she got particularly bitchy just to shut her ass up.
God damn. All right, guys.
What?
Like I said, again, appreciate you guys joining us today. Please leave your comment down below. We would love to hear them. And as always,
don't forget to stand up and use your voice.
I'll see you guys later.
Bye, y'all.